Hello again YouTube, and welcome back to another video. And today we're going to be doing a machine that I featured the other day on another one of my videos. It was there in its box up in the vacuum room upstairs, and I haven't actually featured this one on the channel before, so as another one of the backlog that I need to get through so that we can get up to date, I thought, well, we might as well feature it. I know it's quite an old machine now. It's one of these machines that's been going for quite a while, and it was originally launched, I think, about 2013 or 2012 as a cylinder version of the new Hoover Turbo Power upright bagless. So this one I saw when I was in Tesco, and it was on clearance, or must have been some kind of end of the line, because they must have stopped selling it, and they were only asking 40 quid for this. So I thought, well, for 40 quid, I mean, it's probably going to be absolutely crap anyway, but we might as well give it a try. It's I don't have that many bagless cylinders in the collection. I've got plenty of bagged cylinders. Well, I wouldn't say plenty, but I've got more bagged cylinders than I got bagless ones. So I thought, well, we'll give it a try. So I got it home and unboxed it and pushed it round a bit, and then I thought, well, it's not too bad. And then it got boxed up and put back upstairs, and then ended up in the loft. So I thought, well, we might as well get it down and open it up again and have another look, because from what I can remember of it, it didn't seem too bad. Didn't seem too bad, and for 40 quid, I mean, what can you get for 40 quid nowadays? You couldn't even get a simple value one from Argos for that, could you? Well, I suppose you could, but I mean, they're really naff, really naff. And I'm sure Mr. Vacuum Tests knows all about simple I think he calls them Simple Valuer. He did a couple of reviews on his upright bagless one, and he wasn't very impressed with it. So that's the sort of thing you get for 40-50 quid. But anyway, let's get this out of the box again. It's not a brand new machine, obviously, so it's not unboxed in the sense of the word, but this is how I put it away back upstairs, and it is all sealed up on the top. So I do need to get it out, and afterwards it'll be going back away again. So how on earth can I get stuck on here? Ah, yes, that's right. But dog's barking from next door. I don't know why, because she doesn't normally have dogs in there, but they've been yapping all afternoon, so I can't understand why. So if you hear a lot of dogs barking, it's coming from next door. That's the beauty of having cats. They don't tend to bark very much, but they're not all well behaved like Roger's dogs, you know, and they don't bark all the time. But then again, I think Molly and Daisy do bark. So when the delivery man comes bringing Roger another vacuum cleaner, they like his doorbell. Anyway, here we go then. Yeah, I really have packed all this away, haven't I? All the wrappings and everything's still on it now. So the instruction manual, I'm sure I don't really need one of those to work one of these with my knowledge of vacuum cleaners. A bit more packaging. There's no polystyrene in this. Oh, there's the dogs going again, barking away. That's terraced houses for you. People bring these dogs in and they yap the house down all this. She must have gone out and left them on their own. Or they might be able to hear me talking through the wall. Right, I just have to try and ignore them, but they are driving me slowly up the wall. Here we've got the floor head. This floor head is very, very similar to the one that is supplied on the pneumatic Henry. I will bring the camera down after I've got it all out, and we'll have a closer look. But the new pneumatics have the wheel on the back type with a plastic sole plate, and the one we use at work, which is a PSP 180, has this particular type with only the bristles on the front and not on the rear. It has a squeegee on the back and just bristles on the front. Whereas I think the normal Henry that you have for home use, the red Henrys, have the bristles on the back as well as the front. But this one looks like more like a budget head, but it's still not a bad floor head for a Hoover machine. So, but when these were first brought out, I mean, they were charging over £200 for them, which I thought was absolutely crazy for a cheapo Hoover made in China. And now what have we got is this is an extension. I forgot this had an extension hose in, to be honest. That's supposed to be the hose that goes upstairs. So that's there. In fact, I'll just put it to this side of me because I don't think the camera can see right down here. Did I actually use this? I can't remember whether I did, because all the packaging's still on this still. There's the hose, and I think this hose is longer than a 1.5 metre. I think this is actually quite a long hose. Yeah, this looks well over 2 metres, this does. It's probably 2.1 metres. So, as in terms of hoses, that's quite long. And then we've got a stair tool there, and we've got, oh dear, I've forgotten about that. That's broken, that one has. This is what our base Jack sometimes finds when he opens his cleaners. You know, you get these things brand new, and then you open the box up and find that it's crushed. I can't remember how that happened, or whether it was like that when I bought it. It might have been like it when I bought it. So that crevice tool's no good. That's broken. And there we've got the dusting brush with a nice red bristle. That's very soft. That's a really soft dusting brush, that is, even though it's plastic bristle. Very good one, that. And then we've got the wand, which is quite a heavy affair, this wand is. So I would have said this is stainless steel, probably, or it's not aluminium because it wouldn't be as heavy. So, and that's got the click fit buttons on as well. It's not one of these push together ones like on a cheaper vac style or on the pneumatic where they just push together. This is actually the click fit like on a Miele, which surprised me for a Hoover. But then again, you see, it wasn't a budget model when it was launched. This was actually quite expensive. For me to get it to 40 quid, I mean, that was quite a cheap price for it. So here we are. This is the actual cleaner itself. And what else have we got in there? Oh yeah, that's the caddy that clips on the hose for the tools. And there's nothing else left in there. And obviously I'll have to put all this away back in its box again when I finish the little demo here and the little review. There, oh yes, yes. I don't think that's seen much use in its life. So I mean, like the Hoover Whirlwind that I did a review of the other day, that had only been used once in its life, and it's pretty much the same for this. So this is going to be likely to be 4 or 5 years old now, but it's been up in its box, sealed up in the loft. Rather like Roger does. I mean, he'll buy a machine, maybe show it on his channel, then box it up and it'll go back in his storage. So that in the years to come, when these have all been long forgotten about, you can bring it out and think, blimey, those are what we used to use back in 2013, are they? That's one of the things about vacuum cleaner collecting, is that sometimes we don't actually use what we buy. We'll buy something in a box and maybe have a look at it and think, well, I want to preserve that. It's not going to be a daily driver. This is going to be one of these that we preserve for long-term enjoyment later on, so we can bring it out and have a look and see what we used to use. But yeah, there we go. Let's have the camera down here and we can focus in on some of these lovely, lovely things that we got with the Hoover Turbo Power bagless. Right. So, as I normally do my cylinder cleaner reviews, we'll have a look at the accessories we get first, which are all here. Now this is the hose, which, as I said, it looks to me like a 2.1 metre or possibly even longer than that. Maybe the same length as a pneumatic hose. Actually, I don't know. I don't think it is. It might be a little bit shorter than the pneumatic. Is it a conical hose, as they say? Is it one of these which is narrower at one end than the other? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it's the same width. Although there might be a marginal difference in the width of the hose. I think it is actually, it is slightly tapered. I'm sure that's narrower there and it's wider there. But it's not as pronounced as it was on that Siemens I did the other week. I mean, that was really, really wide at one end. So we've got the end that plugs in the cylinder, and that doesn't swivel on this, which I thought is rather it's not very good really. They're better when they swivel, but it does swivel at this end, so that's not too bad, I suppose. And you've got the strain relief on the handle there, and it looks like a really nice handle. It's very Miele-esque, that handle. You've got your handle grip there. Let me just put the camera in the other hand. And we've got the suction relief valve on the top. Yeah, it looks very nice with the red rubber part on the top, which makes it very comfortable to hold. But it's very thin. The plastics just seem very thin. And it's supposed to be a crush-proof hose so that you can squash it and it shouldn't get kinked, but I don't know. These Hoover ones, they're not quite the same quality as what Miele are. So that's the hose. There's the tool. That looks very similar to the one that you'd find on a Pure Power, I think that one does. I had a very similar one that I had on my Turbo Power 2, but it didn't have the red lifters on. It was just a very cheapened version of that, but that doesn't look too bad, does it? It looks like a 32mm, which I think most Hoovers are. 35mm you tend to find on the German brands. Miele use 35, Bosch use 35, Seebau uses, I think, is a 36.5. It's some unusual size. Here's the floor head, and we don't get a turbo brush with this machine because it wasn't sold as the PETS version. So it's just one standard straight suction nozzle, and it is, as I said before, very similar to what you'd get on the pneumatic commercial version, the PSP. It's got a row of bristles on the front, but on the back it has a squeegee. It doesn't have bristles on the back, and we find that these aren't very good when we're using them at work. They tend to not go very well across hard floor, and they judder across carpets. But you know, for a Hoover machine to have something like that, I mean, it's not too bad, I suppose, if you're using it in the domestic environment. So that's the standard floor head. And now this actually comes with a stretch hose, and I'd forgotten that it came with a stretch hose because, was it advertised? I can't remember. It was, yes, because if I remember rightly, it says long reach on there, so it's probably got quite a long cable as well. And this, when you clip it onto the normal hose, would have gone to the top of the staircase, and you could leave the machine at the bottom. It's a pity this wouldn't work with the Dyson cylinder, but it wouldn't fit, unfortunately. It wouldn't be compatible. But that's the extension hose. And then we have it's a really nice dusting brush, that is. The way it's got red bristles, and they're really soft as well. So you really could use that to do your dusting. It's just as nice as a Miele one, to be honest. It's wouldn't fit on a Miele because it's a 32mm, but it's got a little bit damaged there where it's been in the box. But again, it's nothing a little bit of soak in hot water wouldn't sort out. I'm sure they'd come straight. I think Roger finds this a lot on the machines he buys. You know, when he buys the new old stock ones, you tend to get a lot of that sort of thing happening. But never mind. It's nothing to worry about. It only cost me 40 quid at the end of the day, didn't it? And then we've got this broken crevice tool. It looks like that's been crushed, doesn't it? That's been stood on, or it may have been at the bottom of the box and the box may have been dropped, I don't know, but it's well and truly broken. Well, you can't have everything, can you? For 40 quid. So let's just put that out of the way. And then we've got this wand here. Now the wand it feels fairly good quality. It doesn't look the longest wand in the world when I stretched it out, but we'll soon see when I assemble the cleaner. Yeah, not bad. Not bad at all. Here's the cleaner itself. This is a very very long-running design. I think the Hoover Rush used to look like this as well, but the Rush didn't have the multi-cyclonic separator inside. This one has the multi-cyclones, very similar to what they used in the upright version. So apparently it's not supposed to lose suction, according to that. And it has a HEPA filter in, which, yeah, the HEPA filter, it's in the back, look. I think we just, let's just put this thing on its tripod here while I just take that off. I think we just unclip the back here like so. That comes down. Well, that's not a HEPA filter, is it? Well, that's certainly not a HEPA filter, as far as I'm concerned. The HEPA filters usually are pleated paper affairs. That, to me, doesn't look like a HEPA filter, unless the HEPA filter's actually in the bin. It might be that one then that they consider to be HEPA. So, we just put the back cover back on. So that's going to make the motor more noisy, having a thin filter like that in. And now we can take the canister off. It says easy empty. So off we come with that. And there is the canister there. Its air inlet is here, by the looks of things. And the dirt comes in through that port there. And your hose goes in the front, in there. So obviously this never would have come with a power head on there, so there's no connections or anything for a power head. Underneath, there we go. So that's the TTU 1510, 2011 week 34. So this is actually quite an old one. The 1134 is the year and month, the year and week. So this is one of the very first ones they ever made then, and it's 1400 watts, made in China. Say no more. Not like the old days, is it, where Hoover used to make their things in Cambuslang in Scotland, or in Merthyr Tydfil. It's all made in China for cheapness. So here is the cable. The cable is very, very thin. It's this twin core type of cable I don't like very much. You think, you know, with a vacuum cleaner, that just looks like a sort of cable you'd find on a table lamp. This is 1400 watts, wasn't it? You know, so that's a little bit thin cable ready for carrying that sort of current. I mean, what's 1400 watts? 5 amps, something like that. 6 amps. How much cable? Ah, they may have done this so that it could have a long cable, so they could get more cable stored in. There's the red stop, so we don't pull it out any more than that. So yeah, it does look like a reasonable length cable on. We'll see how long it stretches shortly. So that's the unit. It's got the rubber coated wheels there to stop it scratching your floor. Has the front one got rubber on it? Yeah, it has actually. Yeah. Here's the canister. I think, do we have to twist the top? Yes, we do. So let's just open the top there. I'll put this down for a sec. So we turn the top round, lift it off, and in the top, yeah, I think this is, yes, this is the HEPA filter here. So it's single, does it pull to pieces? Is it a 2-part one? No, it looks like just a one single filter there. Very similar to like a Vax sort of spongy filter, so I can't really see how that's HEPA. Can't really see how that's a HEPA filter, because they normally have pleated filters, don't they, to be called HEPA. But there it is. That's the pre-motor one there. And inside here we can see the... I wonder what that's there for. Little handle. Does that actually pull out for cleaning? Oh, it does, yeah. So we can actually get hold of that handle. And there's the dogs going, barking away again. They're going crazy in there, I don't know what they're doing. There's the multi-cyclones there that we can see in the top, and it looks like goes down into, yeah, I don't like those type that much. They go into like a donut shaped ring underneath where the cyclones are, and they collect in there, and then it's supposed to come from there and then end up coming down this small chute. And I had an Air 3 Agile that was like that, and it forever kept getting clogged up. In this part here, where the cyclones empty out into here, there's like another, I wonder if I can disassemble that anymore. Does that come off? No. I expect it's possible somehow to be able to disassemble that, but what we'd find is that chamber in there would tend to get filled up, and then the cyclone exits would get blocked off, and then the dirt doesn't fall down the tube properly like it's supposed to. That's what I found with the Air 3 Agile, and I was forever having to keep taking this apart and emptying this part because the cyclones got blocked up. I will do another review on that to Air 3 Agile and highlight the problems I had with that. But it wasn't a very good cyclone system, and I think this one might end up being the same. It's not exactly the same as the Turbo Power upright. That's a slightly different design for the cyclones than this. But yeah, so you can't see, if I hold it up to the light, you can't see from the cyclones down to the bottom of the tube on these. Yeah, so yeah, it has been used before, so there's some little bit of dirt in the bottom. Yeah, so let's put it back in like so, and we will put that in. I think it went in that way, didn't it? Yeah, or did it? No, it went in that way. Went in that way around. And then the top, let's lock. Where was the little... Yeah, I have to think sometimes myself when I put these back together. Just put it down here while I lock it up. There we go. And then we'll put it back on here. And I suppose if we put it together, we can just turn it on and have a little push round with it. See what it sounds like and how easy it is to push round. But I can't imagine it's going to be very spectacular with one of those type of heads on. It didn't have the turbo brush, as I say. You'd need to buy the blue version, which I'm not sure actually whether the blue version did come with a full-size turbo brush on these actually. That may be one of the reasons why I've never really used this, because it didn't have a turbo brush, just a standard straight suction nozzle. But let's put the camera on the back while I set it up, and then we can have a push round with it, can't we, and see what it sounds like. The dogs have gone quiet next door again now until they have their next session of going round in a frenzy. I don't know what she's doing. I don't normally have dogs in there. Right, it's plugged in. Let's just clear this off the carpet. And let's put the hose in. There we go. So if I put that extension on, I bet it goes quite a long way. Yeah, I mean that gives it really good long reach, so you could actually go up the stairs with that on there, with that extension hose. That's quite a good idea. Let Hoover go there. So let's put the rod on. Fully extend it. Put our... Yes, it is long enough there. Is it on carpet mode? Yeah, it is now. There we go. Those would be the tools that went on there, but I'm not going to put them on because it'll be going away in its box again after this. So let's turn it on then, shall we? So, I think there that the performance was very, very underwhelming. That may be why it was put away up in the loft. It just didn't seem to be gripping the carpet very well. It didn't seem to have a lot of pull down onto the carpet. As I was moving it round, it just seemed like it was partially clogged, even though the filters are all clear. There seemed plenty of suction on the hose when I tested that, and it's pulled up the rice and the oats okay. So it's definitely got suction there. It just feels when you're pushing it round that there's not much resistance on the carpet. The floor head just seems to be, it's like the one at work. It's not very flexible here. It's a bit stiff, and it seems to like lift off the carpet, and it's the oats are dropping back out. Look. Let's just clear that up again. There's very, very little pull. I mean, some people might like that and think, you know, it's easy to push like that, but you know, at the end of the day, you want a vacuum cleaner to feel like it's actually doing something, and usually with a straight suction head like that, you can feel the pull down onto the, especially for 1400 watts, like this is. So, it's a very underwhelming vacuum cleaner, to be honest, and it's not, in my opinion, it'll pick the stuff up, but it just doesn't feel like it's doing very much. It's a little bit of a, you know, if you can get it for 20 or 30 quid, it's worth it, but I wouldn't pay much more than 40 or 50 for it. But there you go. That's just a little look there at the old Hoover Turbo Power Bagless. Picks the dirt up, but a bit underwhelming. They're going straight back in its box and going upstairs. And from me, on this one and the Hoover, I'll see you again for the next one. Bye for now.